Okay, we're live. Okay,
Doing it
Joe,
live.
what did you just say before we went live?
Okay, so I've been having since the latest AirPod Pro firmware update. I've been having popping in my left AirPod while I'm
And it isn't a
exercising.
bug. It was actually the AirPods. There wasn't anything growing
Right.
in the ear.
There was not like an insect in my ear.
First question. Got to make sure.
You have to cover all the bases. This is true, Georgia. So I had this popping sound, and the noise canceling has felt a little bit off, and like the way wind is interacting with the external microphone has felt weird. And I've been having battery charging problems and so I contacted Apple support over text chat this weekend, and they got the ball rolling on a
now before you go to the replacement, did you have like Apple Care? What kind of coverage? How does this work? Was this an easy fix? What happens here?
So I don't have Apple Care on my AirPods, which lesson learned. Get Apple Care for everything. That's my lesson. That's what I'm taking from this. But I would say the process is easy. It just takes a while because I did text chat. So it's back and forth waiting for a response and then having to describe your issues in detail. And so Apple sent me
wait. Before we get there, one last thing. Because you're not alone in this.
No.
This is why I'm not building anxiety or building tension.
We all want to see it though.
A lot of people are experiencing the same thing. So when you talk to Apple support, what were some of the troubleshooting things you went through with them?
So some of the troubleshooting steps we did a whole reset of the AirPods. We made sure that they were actually on the latest firmware. Yes, they were.
So you reset the AirPods. I've never reset my AirPods. I apologize. I know I should read more iMore articles. I know.
So it's the button. It's that little button.
The little
back
circular
of the case.
button.
Yeah,
okay, you just hold it down forever.
For like 15 seconds or something until the light starts blinking. I want to say white. And then they should be reset. But actually, no, I skipped a step. Before you actually do that, you want to go into settings, Bluetooth, and then hit the little I button, and you want to hit forget this device.
Oh.
So settings, Bluetooth, the I button next to your AirPods Pro, and then forget this device. And then you want to reset the AirPods Pro.
Okay. And then that didn't work either.
That didn't work either. No.
Okay. So now we can talk about the hilarious thing that happened. Okay, go.
So Apple sent me replacement for left AirPod, right AirPod, and the case because I've had trouble with all three of them. And this is how they sent them.
That's a left AirPod and a right AirPod and a case
in three distinct packages. So I should mention that the AirPods each came in their own distinct those cardboard bag envelope things.
Yes.
They each had their own one, and then
they came from different locations probably.
And then this one came in a box. The case came in a box, and I still have to read my instructions, but I think that's how I'm supposed to send in my old model.
You're supposed to send them back the same way?
Separately, not in the box that you first got it in, which it comes usually as a set.
Yeah.
But you're going to put one in one little box.
No, I'm going to put them all in the box that came in that the case came in.
Okay, so you're not going to separately send all three back to them so that they can go, why would he do this to us? You're going to
Yeah, I should as a lesson. But
I'm just sending it back like you told me.
Apple place.
Yeah, like one goes to Apple Park, one goes to Infinite Loop, and then the other goes to the New York, Texas.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I just, oh man.
Now, are you going to open it so we can see what?
Yeah. Can you show us the replacement box?
Like the box, those that are listening.
Yeah.
So
the box is like 30 times bigger than, like, it's really big.
And it doesn't even have a picture on the front. It's not a marketing
you don't
thing.
know. It might not be.
Now the good news is these boxes are very well sealed. There's tape on them on both edges, so you can't open them up and people can't steal things.
I hope you've got good fingernails.
I have a spudger.
Oh, nice.
That I used to work on my Mac Mini.
Nice. Thank you, iFixit.
Indeed. It's from the iFixit kit. All right.
I think they're the only ones that make a spudger.
So what we have here is one single AirPod.
Okay, so look at it. It is kind of cute.
That's it.
Now, is it elasticated onto it? Like, how is it actually? Is it like stuck, or is it elastic?
There is a cardboard slot that it sticks in. But this is interesting, and I actually didn't expect this. So it actually has a cover on it. It has an ear tip on it, and then it has an extra set of ear tips.
Oh wow, you've got extra ear tips with it.
Actually, so these aren't really extra ear tips, but we've got a medium ear tip and then a small and a large.
Yeah,
right.
And so that I expect to find that in my other AirPod box. And it comes with.
So does that mean they want you to return the
little instructions?
The
you're gonna have to find your ear tips.
That'll be.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I mean,
I keep mine in a special location just in case I lose an air tip. I'll know exactly where to go to just put the wrong size on. Like what if you lose your ear tip? You can't use them at all. So I have them in a very easy to find location just for that reason of like, I know I'll have to get the right size, but just in case.
I have them also in a really special location. My extra ear tips, it's Renee's place. So
see, and now I have so many AirPods Pro ear tips because I had to order replacements one time because I was cleaning a set and not realizing that there is a screen, a little mesh screen in the actual tip itself. I accidentally punctured it.
Oh no!
So I had to order replacements.
You actually paid for ear tips?
Yeah, but it was $5. I mean,
they're not expensive. Okay, fair enough.
They are not. So so now I just have a set of medium ear tips and then my original set of ear tips, and now I have these. It's gone bonkers here, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you've got lots of ear tips now.
Also in the ear tips box, these little instructions for setting up your AirPods.
Okay,
that's
in case people forgot.
That's a good idea to put it right in the box.
This is just there's so much cardboard.
I know.
It didn't need to be this way.
They could have sent it in a little plastic baggie.
Although they could have done that, and
or in a paper, they could have just put them all into the case, and then the extra ear tips in a little tiny, like, paper foldy thing that they have. I would be like, that would work too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. Some people just lose one. You just lose the left, or you just lose the right.
They lose
I do
one,
understand.
or they only have problems with one, or they.
But in your case, it was everything.
It was the total system failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
what else? Keep unboxing.
Okay, so since we've already unboxed an AirPod.
Yeah, do the
case. We assume it'll be the inverse for the other one. Yes.
Yeah. Is the box on this one also completely blank except for the little illustration on the side telling you what it is?
So we got the all this, and then we got the barcodes.
Yeah.
For shipping
and then there's a little illustration on the side, right? It's like a picture of a case.
No, it's not.
What's the little icon on the side?
So it is the energy verified only.
Oh,
I think it's some kind of California label.
Okay, so it's not even there. The box itself is completely unidentifiable.
It is a white box.
If okay.
In this box, they would not know what is inside.
I'm just saying, you can like put some jewelry in that and give it as a gift. Like people would be really excited.
These boxes, they make really.
So we have instructions.
Good boxes.
Georgia, you had actually talked about that once, that you use them to use as your little organizers. I have done that since you came up with that idea because they're such solid, strong, useful boxes.
They're very sturdy.
I have all my art in like I put it in one Apple big, like like a Mac Pro or whatever it might be box, and then I have all of the little boxes for watches and AirPods and like all kinds of stuff in it, and they fit perfectly. And I have all my art supplies, and they're all stacked one on top of the other.
Yeah, and so I love it.
So in this box, see, we have the AirPods Pro case. It's wrapped in that.
Open the case. Maybe there's AirPods in
film.
It. Maybe you got a lucky extra pair of AirPods.
That would be wild, and I would not state so publicly.
It doesn't show.
He's going to open the case and say,
empty.
So then I guess I would have to assume that none of this is already charged. Like, push the button on the back. Does the light turn on?
So you don't even have to push the button on the back. You just open the case.
That's right. Oh, and it is. It is. So it is actually already charged.
There is some charge in this case.
Yeah. Nice. Did it come with a lightning connector?
It does not come with a lightning cable now.
Oh, wait, really?
Well, because the assumption is that this is a replacement, so you already have that.
Yeah.
Well, what if okay, fine. Yeah. What if the problem was the connector? I guess they would just send you the connector. I understand
you have an iPhone.
I stopped myself. I knew. I'm like, okay.
Look, it's been 8 years. They're counting on pretty much everyone to have a ton of lightning cables in their houses, even Android users.
Yeah.
Somehow.
All right. Well, that was pretty impressive and exciting, and I think it's pretty hilarious that your replacement came in 3 separate boxes in 3 separate packages. It didn't just come in 3 boxes in one box.
They all came today.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So let's go back into talking about all of the news of the week. So I wanted to start with, this just happened just before we got in the show. So brand new information and news. I'm using this report from Mac Rumors because it's not even available yet in the Apple Store at this moment, but it looks like Mac Rumors may have gotten some embargoed information that indeed Powerbeats Pro comes in 4 new colors, and they are very spring-like. So the current lineup, or before today's lineup, were ivory, moss, navy, and black. And they're fine. They're good fall colors. They're dark. They're, nothing that stands out. The new colors that are now, or actually not at the moment yet available, but will be soon available, are colors that I don't see the titles for. Oh, here we go. They are called Spring Yellow, Cloud Pink, Lava Red, and Glacier Blue, which they're bright and light colors. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think about these colors?
So I'll jump in. I'll jump into the color thing. So I love the red. I think it's really great. I do not love the pastel color. I'm just not into the muted colors. Like the pink one is it's like really a very cotton candy-ish kind of pink.
Yeah. It's like what my hair color used to be.
Yes. And the yellow is like green to me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think that it would be like they're accessories, but would not be ones that, like, maybe the pink one. I don't know. I don't see myself rushing to maybe if the pink was darker. I don't know. That's my feeling, Joe.
Yeah, I feel the same way as you, Georgia. Pastels aren't my cup of tea generally. I feel the same way about the iPhone 11 colors.
Yeah.
I prefer the 10R selection.
The bolder colors.
Yeah, bolder, deeper. That saturation dial was turned way up on those. Love that.
What do you think of the red?
Let's see.
It's definitely not product red. That is it definitely doesn't have the same color. It's a little bluer. I think it's oranger.
I think it's fine. I actually prefer the original colors. I actually have a pair of before AirPods Pro were announced. I got Powerbeats Pro in navy, and the navy ones are really nice.
Yeah, it's a really good color.
They've got a little gold accent on the B is gold, and I like it.
Oh,
so
nice.
I would jump on these colors if I didn't already have a pair of Powerbeats Pro, and also that I don't really use anymore because the AirPods Pro actually makes my life a lot better. Which, by the way, I've said this before. I have always thought that the Powerbeats Pro are absolutely fantastic. I love them, but I also love not having the hook in my ear when I wear sunglasses.
I asked about the comfort of the Powerbeats Pro versus the AirPods Pro.
They're very comfortable, but if you are a sunglasses wearer, now I've talked with people who are glasses wearer, and Joe, you are a glasses wearer who have Powerbeats Pro. It sounds like it's not that uncomfortable, but what I think the problem for me is that I am not a traditional glasses wearer, so I haven't spent my life having to deal with those, like making compromises for that. So I put a pair of sunglasses on, and the hooks of the Powerbeats Pro it's just annoying as hell for me. So I don't like that when I'm wearing sunglasses. But other than that, I wear them when I work out all the time. I don't wear my AirPods Pro when I work out. I wear the Powerbeats Pro.
Yeah, I wish Powerbeats Pro had noise canceling, because that plus the battery life, and with the battery life problems I've had with AirPods Pro in the past, I've never had any sort of problem like that with Powerbeats Pro. Plus, it's like 9 hours outside of the case, so it's not something I ever worried about.
Which is a long time. That's a really long time not to have to, that's a long jog. Or a whole day of training. Like, you really can do a full day out if you're going to the gym and you work there, and you don't have to worry. You have the hour of traveling back, and that's if you're fully, you're using them during that entire time.
Right.
So that's great. But Joe, you were saying before that there are no new features besides the color.
Nope, it's just the new colors. No extended battery life. No new slimmer case. No ANC. They're Powerbeats Pro in new colors.
So what I'm wondering is, are we going to see this happen regularly, where Powerbeats Pro are going to get new seasonal colors like the watch bands? Because if you actually look at Apple's spring lineup of their watch bands, there's very similar colors in there. The grapefruit sport band is not entirely different than the pink one, the cloud pink, I guess. The Barrel Sport looks a lot like the green one, which they're calling, I guess it's spring yellow. Well, the picture looks green, actually. It does not look yellow. It looks green. But right now the watch bands are there's a lot of pastel colors in the spring lineup. And does that mean that you could potentially just get a different pair of $250 Powerbeats Pro for each season? Is that what is that the hope here? Is that what we're going for?
I think it's all about when people buy them. Like, people buying them in spring might want, spring colors, even though we're almost at summer.
Yeah. I know I'm calling it a spring lineup, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The lighter colors.
Exactly.
Do you think so? Even though this has been announced on a couple of the tech blogs, just really at this moment, it's been less than 40 minutes that this had kind of appeared, but it's actually not yet available at Apple's website or at the Beats website. So we don't know if they've changed the price. And another thing that I think is an important question is, are we still going to have the option to get the 4 original colors in addition to the new colors, or are they going to switch them out like they do with Apple Watch bands, where these become like the exclusive, fall 2019 versus summer 2020 colors?
I mean, that's a good question.
Without them having those classic colors that people would feel comfortable with, I think that it would be remiss for them to get rid of classic colors that people want. There's a lot of people that are not into pastel, and there's other people that absolutely adore pastel, and some people are like, it depends
I love
on
it.
my mood, right?
I love it.
Feel, right? So with getting just having the selection of these 4, I think that would be a bad idea. Having them as specialties that you can pick up the newer colors during a certain period of time, I think that's kind of cool. Or having the selection of choice. But, without, some people like black, some people like white, some people want something that's their muted tones at least match with everything. If I am going into a board meeting with, shocking pink, it is a little bit less professional. Again, depending on the type of meeting, right? If I'm all dressed in pink, maybe this then works, who knows? But, you know, then it becomes an accessory that you want to make sure that you can accessorize properly. Whereas, you know, if you're wearing, you know, people are very accepting of the neutral tones instead of their technology, and they don't distract as much.
Right. Yeah. And no, yeah.
One thing about these that we should note, because I don't think we've said it yet, that these are coming on June 9th, according to Beats.
Yes. Yeah. So it looks like we've got a little bit more information from one of our dedicated listeners, our biggest fan. It's 9 hours of listening time. So I'm looking over the current specs of the Powerbeats Pro and trying to see whether or not there's any differences. The 9-hour battery life, that's the same as before. Up to 24 hours with the case, that's same. 5 minutes of fast fuel charging to give 1.5 hours of playback. I believe that's the same as, it's the same as it was before. And the same H1 chip, the same IPX4 sweat and water resistance, all the other same features. It is also $250 and it is available beginning June 9th. So, it looks like these are going to be in addition to the current colors. So they're not going to take away the navy, moss, ivory, and black. They're adding this to the current lineup. So we just have a wider swath of colors to choose from.
Which is always
and thank you to our dedicated listener, our biggest fan, for that information. All right, so nobody's going to get these. I mean, right now that we're talking to, none of you are excited about the colors.
No one's going to get these.
No, yeah, because I'm the kind of person, I get the FOMO and I'm suddenly buying something even though I don't need it. But I love the blue, the glacial blue. I might buy them. I know I already have a pair of Powerbeats Pro and I don't even use it as much as I do my AirPods, but I really like that color a lot. So maybe I can give away the black pair to, one of my friends or something and just keep the new ones because I really like those colors. I personally, if I did not already have a pair, I would be buying them right now while we were talking. So, so that's my thing about the colors. So another new thing that happened this week that I wanted to also touch on is iOS 13.5. Not that it released, because I think it actually came out before the last time we talked, because we were talking about the update to Face ID, making it a little bit faster for you, which, by the way, Georgia, did you update?
I didn't.
Okay, good. Good for you for one reason, because there was a bug that ended up coming out with it. There was a little bit of a glitch that caused certain apps, not all of them and not for everyone, because I didn't experience it at all. But there were some apps that would, as soon as you tried to open them, you would get a notification that said this app is no longer shared with you. Even if you were the lead in the family sharing, it would say this app is no longer shared with you. The solve for that, if anybody experienced that and has not updated to iOS 13.5.5, because they did push out a fix for that. And if you haven't updated already to 5.5, you can delete the app and reinstall it, and that fixes the problem. And if you have an app that you don't want to lose the data for, then you offload the app. We'll put in our show notes how to do that. You'll offload the app, which actually removes the app from your phone, but keeps the data from that app on your phone. And then you reinstall it, and then you're good to go, and you can open it again. But if you update to iOS 13.5.5, then that fixes that problem. So yeah, that was a funny little glitch that came about, and just kind of like, I actually thought of you, Georgia, and how you tend to wait on updating things. Even in this case, you were really excited about it. You were ready to go. You were going to update.
Really excited about it.
But it was good that you waited, because you avoided that problem.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just about the time. Like when I'm using my phone, I want to use it. And then at night, when I go to sleep is usually when I will update. Mm-hmm. And It's just so hot and I'm so tired. And I just was like, eh. Plus, we're sleeping in the downstairs right now. So my watch is upstairs. And I'm like, I want to do both at the same time. Anyways, so all of those things are more. So it was more not really a conscious choice. It wasn't like good for you, Georgia, because I didn't really consciously think, oh, there might be bugs. I want them still. And would have if, the time had
if laziness had not prevailed.
Exactly. Exactly.
So as Scott C in the chat points out, and I have experienced this all week, I think one of Apple's other attempted fixes for this problem is to just push out the most recent updates for all of the apps you have installed on your device.
Yeah, because, right. It forces you to update all of them.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't force you, but if you refresh the update section in the App Store app, you will see there are updates that no, this update launched last week. I know this, and I saw that a lot this week.
So I have. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to count really quickly because it's that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13 apps today alone were automatically, I have automatic updates turned on. So that was just today. And yesterday it was very similar. It was a massive amount of apps that just pushed out to be updated. So even though I didn't experience the, your app is no longer shared with you, I am experiencing the automatic push out of trying to mitigate those apps. Again, I haven't heard like any confirmation that this fixed it, but Apple pushed out iOS 13.5.5 yesterday, I believe, Joe.
I actually did not. I missed this. I didn't see 13.5.5.
So is maybe this was not true. So I take back everything that I said for a minute. Hold on.
Yeah,
no, it still isn't out. So
yeah, iOS 13.5 is still the current version.
So I take it back. 13.5.5 has not launched yet. I thought I had read that on our site, but apparently I'm drinking something strong.
What it could be is Apple did launch Mac OS 10.15.5 later than the rest of the software updates. They launched it a couple of days ago.
I'm just getting all my numbers mixed up. So I take it back. There's no such thing as 13.5.5, but iOS 13.5 does have this kind of annoying issue where it might tell you that your app is no longer shared for no apparent reason. And we're seeing a lot of app updates just get pushed out for no reason. I think Stephen Perry said that their phone has 44 updates. So yeah, there's lots of things going on with that. So if you haven't updated, go ahead and hold out. You have what?
127 updates.
This is because you don't have auto updates turned on and you don't regularly update. And you have very good reasons for why you like to postpone until you're sure that it's what you want to do. So it's okay.
Gee, I wonder if something has happened recently that has given fire to George's argument.
So another big thing that came right on the heels of iOS 13.5 is that that the jailbreak community have figured out another jailbreak that is now available on every device. So every signed iOS version on every device is now available from Jailbreaker Uncover, or the software is Uncover 5.0.0. So I brought this up because I wanted to talk a little bit about jailbreaking. We've had some discussions about it recently about whether or not jailbreaking is even a thing anymore, because it used to be a big deal. Like the jailbreaking community was big. There were websites dedicated to it. There were, large forums where people talked about it all the time. And every time a new jailbreak came out, everyone was excited and they were waiting in anticipation for the next big jailbreak. But at this point, it lost its luster. Why did it lose that? Georgia, you probably would be the best candidate to talk about why you think people are less interested in jailbreaks than they used to be, just in a sort of sociological kind of concept.
Yeah, well, and I used to jailbreak my phone.
Great. Okay.
And Ali Kazmuha, she was my ninja master. We would go through all kinds of stuff about the jailbreak community and all of the things. And for me, it was about usability. There were a whole bunch of features that I wanted, such as copy and paste, or I wanted to be able to not have to leave my app to be able to reply to a text that came up to me, and I wanted to be able to be there, or I wanted to change the volume of my flashlight. And so by jailbreaking, I would have access to features that I already wanted on my phone, but I could not have because Apple said, we're not ready yet. And for me, copy and paste was really a big one. I'm dyslexic, so I can't really spell. So really, I want to copy and paste the stuff as much as I can. So it was really useful for me. I think that for most of the case, and when I saw the article, I was like, wow, that is like a flash from the old. There's a lot of risk to jailbreaking. I think that that's one of the first things, is that it sometimes does break stuff that already works. And I think that the phones now, Apple has given us a lot of the features that we want already. And so I think that it's really a cost benefit that people go through. I think that there's still that rebellious nature in a lot of iPhone users, that we don't want to be boxed in and be forced to be able to do things the way Apple tells us that we should. And I think that that's a good, healthy thing of looking at things differently and being able to want to control, similar to right to repair, you want to be able to control your interface and the manner in which you deal with your technology. And I think that that's great. But for me, I'm like, yeah, that sounds really cool, but what is it going to offer me versus what are the risks of what it could possibly break? And we use our phones. They're not just fun little, my husband's always trying to install different stuff and try different things with his computers, but we don't need those computers. They're not you wouldn't be doing that on my work computer, like the one that I need to interface with, my business, my people, emails that I really need to get. That wouldn't be okay. And I think that our phones now are essential services, no longer these things that we do on the side. We spend often, for some people, they spend more time on their phones than they do with their significant others, right? These things are closer to us than probably, they know more about us than ourselves. We use them more often, probably too often. So I don't think it's going to have the same amount of push, though I am intrigued and going to be looking at everything that I could get. But I will doubt that I would risk jailbreaking. That's for me.
Yeah.
Joe?
I'm with you. I was actually kind of surprised to see this, because I haven't heard about any big jailbreaks for a while. And I think, as this story says, the most notable previous jailbreak only worked on A11 phones. So that's, 2 phone cycles ago. So, I mean, it's been a minute since we had a big notable jailbreak. And yeah,
have you ever broken a phone before, Joe?
I have. Okay. I jailbroke because I was on an iPhone 3G forever. I jailbroke an iPhone 3G to run things that I couldn't get because it stopped getting updates in the middle of the iOS 4 cycle. And there were a lot of features that the iPhone 3G didn't get from iOS 4, like multitasking. So I jailbroke it to just test that stuff out. And it was an interesting, if slightly less stable experience.
Yeah. That is the thing that the compromise that you make, is that you don't have the same stability and security for sure. I have never jailbroken an iPhone. I have root booted Android phones before, and just for fun, not really having any specific reason to do this stuff. It's just fun. I've jailbroken a Nintendo Switch just for fun, not for any particular reason, but I've never done it with an iPhone. But here's what I was thinking. The iPhone SE 2020 might rekindle people's love of jailbreaking. And now this is not, any kind of I need a phone so that I can steal apps off the internet kind of idea, but maybe people who enjoyed, like you, Georgia, who enjoyed playing around with manipulating an operating system that you're not supposed to play around with just for fun. So an iPhone SE at $400 is, you've already got your $1,000 iPhone 11 Pro or whatever. And here's this $400 phone that you can play with it. You can jailbreak and you can, put things on it that you can't put on an iPhone 11 and see how it works and just play with it. I wonder if that won't happen. I mean, now that there's this overarching jailbreak that makes it available on any iPhone, even a brand new iPhone with the A13 chip. You can jailbreak it because of this particular jailbreak that's out. So why not grab yourself a $400 iPhone and plug it in, jailbreak it, and have some fun with it? I think it might be kind of fun for some people. It might rekindle the love of jailbreaking at this point.
Oh yeah,
it could happen. Bob Lyles says in the chat room that one of the conditions for using the Apple Card is that your phone cannot be jailbroken, assuming that would be for security reasons, because then your phone might not be secure, and because of Apple's terms and agreement, they usually cover if there's someone uses your phone without authorization. But jailbreaking, there is a security risk to jailbreaking phones, right?
Absolutely.
And that's something that we didn't mention beforehand, but you are kind of going off the grid in dealing with different applications that you can get, different functionality. And so some of those could cause security breaches, which is another risk that you take when you're jailbreaking. And often the jailbreak community is they really do try to look into what might be security breaches, and they're constantly testing things out, but there's still the risk to that. So Apple Card users, just be aware.
Right. And we definitely don't condone jailbreaking your iPhone. It's just a fun thing to think about and talk about. And for those that do jailbreak their iPhone, I think it's pretty cool and pretty fun that you do things like that. But definitely don't do it if you don't know what you're doing and you don't want to worry. If you be very aware of the risks involved.
Don't do it on a lark.
Yeah, definitely don't do it
on a lark. Things.
I'll jailbreak my phone today.
It can end really poorly.
Yes, definitely. There's a couple of other big things coming up, but before we get into that, I want to talk about our sponsor this week, LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning is LinkedIn's learning website where you can sign up for courses to learn about all different kinds of things, like learning how to use Excel, or learning how to use your iPhone, or really advanced things like how to be, the best executive for a company, how to fire somebody, how to hire somebody. There's all kinds of things. So LinkedIn Learning recently released a lot of their most popular content for free. A lot of it revolves around working from home, or just sort of this new kind of world that we're living in right now that involves remote working and, kind of dealing with all of the life and stresses and how to do it. So right now, when you go to LinkedIn Learning, you can actually come across things like professionals remaining productive and efficient while working remotely, professionals building resilience during this challenging time, educators transitioning to teaching online. And within those larger subject matters, you can narrow those down to things like, if you were going to do learn more about teachers learning how to educate online, you can have learning to teach online, teaching with technology, teaching with technical skills through videos, teaching online. And then you can actually then pick your courses. So the learning to teach online course, for example, it has the course, it has certificates that you can earn. Some of them have homework assignments and tests that you take. In this particular one, teaching online, you can learn how to teach classes, or like have classrooms remotely, how to set guidelines for online courses, how to write your syllabus for the course and all that kind of stuff. This is all free. So LinkedIn has offered this stuff to us for free, and there's there's hundreds of popular courses that you can look at. So for a limited time, LinkedIn Learning is offering a wide variety of their most popular online courses for free. You can hear from real-world experts who share tips about how to cope with stress, manage a remote team, and even look great on video conferences. There are also plenty of courses for salespeople, recruiters, small businesses, and more. You can check out the free LinkedIn Learning courses and share them with your teams. And if you want to learn more about LinkedIn Learning, the trusted online learning solution for 78% of Fortune 100 companies, you can talk to one of their consultants. Visit linkedinlearning.com/iMore to explore dozens of free courses. That's linkedinlearning.com/iMore. And thank you to LinkedIn for sponsoring this week's episode of The iMore Show. So, coming off the tails of jailbreaking, let's talk a little bit about. Okay, so some of the big news recently is that Apple is acquiring the exclusive rights to stream some movies that were originally intended to be, put in movie theaters, but because of the shelter-in-place order around the nation, and that's still being in effect to some degree in most of the country, there's just been different ways that you can watch these movies at home instead of in the movie theater. And what Apple has done, they've sort of petitioned and won the rights to stream Tom Hanks' movie Greyhound exclusively on Apple TV Plus, and a new Scorsese film starring Robert De Niro. The movie is called Killers of the Flower Moon. These are both movies that will at least start their existence in the world as exclusively streaming on TV Plus. And this is in addition to a rumor, not a known thing yet, but a rumor that Apple is also exploring licensing back catalog content so that it's going to become not just a streaming service for their own brand new produced content, but other content. So old TV shows, old movies, and things like that. What do you think about that?
I think this makes a lot of sense. Going after these movies, especially in these times, Greyhound, we know, was supposed to get a wider theatrical release. I think early part of June. I think actually it was supposed to come out Father's Day weekend, which makes sense because it's a very
World War II movie.
It's a very dad sort of movie, and this Martin Scorsese movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. I think it's probably getting big names for your service is a great it's a great idea. I mean, look at the Irishman on Netflix last year. Is that last year? Time has no meaning. It's it's a big get for them, and I think like earlier this week, speaking of library content, there was a report that they were going to, or they actually did acquire the back catalog rights to Fraggle Rock.
I think that one is confirmed. That particular one, that they released a brand new Fraggle Rock miniseries that was some 10-minute episodes, which were absolutely adorable. I don't know if you saw it. Very cute. But yeah, that one, they have acquired the rights to stream the back catalog of Fraggle Rock. So that's going to be a lot of fun for us old geezers who remember it from when we were kids.
And getting a bunch of back catalog content, older content that they didn't produce, is going to be key. I think, as it turns out, late 2019, early 2020 was not the best time to launch a streaming service that lives or dies on original content. When you really only have one season of that original content ready to go.
Yeah.
I would assume, they had to suspend production on a bunch of their stuff already. They have things that are partially shot. But they don't have, as far as I know, they don't have full seasons of the morning show, or full second season of the morning show, or For All Mankind, or See, or any of that. So filling time, basically they're making a play for time while they can finish all this stuff.
Right. Because when November hits and they don't have season 2 of See or something like that, they just don't even have it because they couldn't film it. What are they going to do? Yeah.
Well, and I mean, this is the question I have about that. I'm interested in your thoughts on that. Do you think, given the circumstances of the year, that Apple's going to extend its free Apple TV Plus promotion with new device purchase for another year, even if you have already taken advantage of it?
I think that would be a brilliant idea. I don't know if Apple will do it, because Apple will often not, like, profit is profit. But I think that would be brilliant, just because they're not going to be able to have a ton of new content. They're going up against, Amazon and Netflix that just have much more to offer.
Oh, yeah.
And if they extend it, the risk to Apple is they end up wanting to have this passive income that's kind of there, and you just stick with it. And that little trickle of money comes in, which is a huge deal for Apple, because if it's true, and with supply and demand and just shortages, phone sales go down, this would be that difference. And it's better to get people really hooked and make sure that they're fully, drinking the Kool-Aid before they decide to take the where you're gonna have to pay for Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So I think that with not being able to have new shows that people are really hooked to, and like the shows that are out there, like some people really love them, but they're like, they're okay. Like I have one show that I watch that I would be interested to be able to have come back. But besides that, I'm on Apple TV very rarely. But if they had the content or they kept it for free, I'd be like, okay, I'm still there. And then you get that content, you've consumed it, and now I can't live without these shows. You'll be paying for it, because right now we're at home and bored, and this could go on for a really long time. Yeah, very interesting idea, Joe.
And one of the things I keep thinking about is, all of these shows have only had their first season. So they're, a lot of a first season of any show is going to be finding its sea legs, so to speak,
Right.
really learning its own voice. And second seasons often work out a lot of the kinks that were present in the first season. I mean, this goes out to our number one fan. I think Arrow on the CW, which is the Green Arrow TV series, did that. The first season was pretty good, but it was also pretty rough. And then the second season, by a lot of fans of the show, is considered light years beyond anything else, maybe even the rest of the other 6 following seasons of the show. And I think I think this would have been the year that we see that for 1 or 2 of Apple's original series, like For All Mankind or See. I personally think that For All Mankind was the actual standout of that freshman slate of shows.
Freshman 7.
Yeah, exactly. They heavily promoted, like, especially the morning show. But
yeah,
I think this would have been the year that 1 or 2 of their original slate would have really truly separated themselves from the pack, because that's generally how that sort of thing goes.
Yeah. So this,
Now they have that opportunity.
Yeah,
Lori?
this year has kind of just messed with what could have been a snowball of success for Apple, but right now it's more just like a wait and see sort of thing. I think 2 things. One, Joe, I think that you are right that it makes a lot of sense that because they had to postpone their second season, that they will have had to postpone the second season of a lot of shows that would have probably come out just as our subscriptions, our free year subscriptions were running out. That would have been perfect timing for these new seasons to come out, and they are most likely postponed. So Apple might want to keep us, those of us that started right away, right from the get-go in November, I think it was that it started. But 2, the back catalog of content, it's tricky and could potentially be have a negative effect, and for a couple of reasons. If you give me a library of content, then that's going to make me kind of make a decision. Do I get rid of Hulu, let's say, or do I get rid of Netflix, let's say, in exchange for TV Plus? Because now I've got a streaming service that has a bunch of back catalog stuff, and take out of it the exclusives. Let's just assume that you have no interest in the TV shows that are exclusively on either Netflix or Hulu, and you're just making a decision on the back catalog. Is that smart? Because now you are trying to decide between multiple streaming services that kind of offer more or less the same kind of content if you're licensing that out. Is TV Plus gonna be the service that you decide on? Or are you gonna go with the service that's been around for 20 years like Netflix, or 15 years like Hulu? You know, that seems a little bit like a risk that I'm not sure a lot of people want to take of making that decision, if that's something that they come to. Now, TV Plus is very inexpensive, so the decision to just keep it's not financially a burden. So you're not going to have a lot of people that are just like, I can't do everything, but it's going to come up. And two, and Georgia, this one, I think you can attest to this issue, which is licensing across different countries is such a problem. And Apple owns the rights to everything that it streams right now. But once it starts getting into licensing agreements, there's going to be some TV shows that you can watch in the US that you can't watch in Canada, or some seasons of a TV show that you can watch in Canada, but other seasons of that same TV show that you can't watch. And like we see it right now, HBO Max just launched, and they have a licensing agreement with a lot of Warner Brothers Looney Tunes cartoons. And I look through the catalog, and there's some seasons where you can watch episodes 1 through 6, but you can't watch 10 through 12, and then you can watch 13 through 15, but you can't watch 16. And those are all licensing related things that, at some point in history, things get parsed out. Do you worry that would be a negative effect, Georgia, on just people in various countries only being able to access certain things?
It makes them frustrated. People get really frustrated that they're, some people somewhere out, like it feels unjust to people, right? Like, oh, why are my American friends getting to watch the show I really want to? Or why do I only get season 2 and 4 of this show and I don't have it? Or I haven't finished the season and now suddenly it's gone. And that level of anger and frustration that we have. And that is a licensing issue because, all of these shows and the networks that they're usually hooked up with make kind of these deals behind the scenes of, you can do it in this country, but you can't license it over here. And then you can't, it's a really frustrating experience when you can't have something. And in the end, then we end up hating on Apple, right? You shoot the messenger, even though they didn't have that much to do it. That's the one thing about creating your own content, is that you can choose to use it whichever way that you want to. But Apple is really slow at making their content. They're just starting this off right now. And like Netflix and Amazon, like they have shows that they've made, which are great. And they already have huge hits that you don't ever have to worry that it's going to be gone from that. And so that's the only issue with licensing, is that it's kind of a mixed bag of great. You can have all of these old shows we're watching right now, Alfred Hitchcock Presents and the Twilight Zones, all of those old school shows that you kind of know what you're going to get, and it's kind of cool, and the beginnings of what were Black Mirror and the Sleeping Sheep one from Amazon. Sorry, completely botched image. Mess later about it.
I can't. I'm thinking Sleeping Sheep, and I cannot figure out what you're talking about.
So Electric Dreams, I think.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is great, by the way. I actually liked it better than Black Mirror.
I need to watch it. I remember hearing about it, and then I forgot about it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So I think that's the pieces to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think, just like Joe was saying, it's smart for them to try to expand their content right now, considering they have a lot of shows in the works that had to be postponed that have been on pause. And it's such a tenuous existence right now that if they don't give us a reason to stay, a lot of us are going to leave. So it makes a lot of sense that they're trying to do this to keep us interested and give us a reason to keep paying, even if the season 2 of shows or even season 1 of shows that were announced but haven't actually had the chance to go into production yet are out. So one more big thing before we end the show that I wanted to talk about, and this has to do with a leak. I think somebody earlier, someone earlier had asked whether or not how we feel. Jesus Melendez asks how we feel about leaks. Is it helping the hype or ruining the excitement? And just quickly between the three of us, I want you all to say what you think, hype or hurt. I think it helps the hype. I enjoy leaks. They make me feel very excited. Joe, do you think that they are like seeing your Christmas present before Christmas Day, or? And I meant that in a bad way, not a good way, because I know for some people that's a good thing.
I would say I like leaks because they make my job easier.
Yeah. Just we get to pre-write those articles before we know the announcement. Yeah.
True. It's a very good
Georgia,
point.
what about you? Do you think that it's like leaks are fun and great, or do you think like you've just ruined the surprise for me now?
So it's kind of funny. I'm of two minds. So when I'm wanting to watch a show and I'm really excited about it, I don't want to know any leaks. I will stay off of Reddit or any other websites. I won't even go on CNN because sometimes they'll just put down this person died, like as the header. Like I'm like, I didn't even know that was the anyways. So I avoid the internet when I'm watching a show. I don't let Renee talk to me about the preview. I don't watch the preview. I don't want to know anything. Yet for my tech, I love them. It gets me excited about it. I want to see about it. I want to find out. But when Apple gets one by on us and puts something in that we had no clue and we're completely bamboozled, and we get this surprise gift that we did not expect to have, that moment of that excitement is mind-blowing, and I love it. And it's like, I can't believe that this is actually happening as well. And did you hear that? And I'm texting everyone, and we're all like, in a little tiny buzz of bees about this new thing that we're all so excited that it's going to be like this, and and to be able to unhash it. So I like both. But I enjoy the little feeding of like what could be, and like, I'm like, yay, like when are the tags coming? I want and I'm like dying for any little bit of information of what is the possibility, which just feeds me with dopamine. And, that's not a bad thing. So both.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, John Prosser has leaked, the entire iPhone 12 lineup at this point.
And the iPhone 13, I think, coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, if his tweets are any indication.
Yeah.
But yeah, assuming that iPhone 12 stuff pans out, especially the iPhone 12 Pro, it's supposed to have a LiDAR sensor, and right now the LiDAR sensor is really only on it's really on the 2020 iPad Pro, and it's really for AR. Can you imagine? They announced the phone, it's got a LiDAR sensor, like the iPad does, but they show it to us, they demonstrate it, and it helps with portrait mode, and it provides like a dramatic increase in the quality of the bokeh and the fading into the background, and that sort of thing. I mean, just imagine how that would be, how that would feel, seeing that rather than just knowing, oh, it's got a LiDAR sensor. If they show us something cool with that LiDAR sensor, it's like, you've seen it. It's kind of like I think Steve Jobs said it after the iPhone 4 leaked at that WWDC when they were announcing the phone. Have you seen this? You haven't seen it. Sort of like you have, but you really haven't.
Right. Yeah. Well, then in that case, it forces them to be more creative with their keynotes, because they have to really emphasize these features that we might already know about and really wow us with them, which I think probably it helps, because it's almost like competing in a race or something. Is like you're only as good as your competitors, and you can only be better than them if you work harder. So if you can only impress me with these features if you make them more interesting than the leaks that I've already read about them. So yeah, that's true. But I wanted to bring it up because of this one leak that just recently came out with a new leather loop that is supposedly an Apple Watch leather loop. What do you think? Are you guys looking at these right now? They come in a couple of different colors. So it's red, black, brown, pink, and blue. And the pink and the blue are very sort of bright, bold colors. They're certainly not soft versions of that. I don't think these are Apple Watch bands.
Yeah,
I'm just straight up going to say it. I don't think they're Apple. I think they're another manufacturer who made copycat Apple Watch bands that look similar to the loop. And somebody is calling them official Apple Watch bands, but I don't think they are. Yeah, they just don't look right.
Yeah, what really doesn't look right, at least to me, is the attachment points. They just look wrong.
Yeah, so what Joe is referring to, normal attachment points on an Apple Watch, they have a uniform color across the entire band. It's either a metallic color or it would be sort of the plasticky color of the design itself. So you might have, for example, like white, and it would be white all the way across. But on these bands, these supposed new bands, they have the color on the edge, the leather color on the edge, but the connection points are metallic, and that's just not something that Apple usually does. So I thought I would bring it up in this sort of, oh God, I hope not, because these are not very attractive. And I didn't really like the leather loop anyway, but this is really not very attractive. I hope this isn't true. But also a reminder to us that leaks are not they're definitely not necessarily the actual product to be coming out. And this is something that I'm looking at it going, I just don't think this is an Apple band.
I don't buy it.
But that's a good point. Like that's, and that's for me, part of the excitement is that little bit of detective work of like, oh, look at what Lori noticed on this, and and then you get to like, that's kind of part of the fun, is to look through them and be like, what do I think? And then we all make our predictions, and then 6 months later, no one remembers, but like, we're like 6 months later, did that really happen? Where is it at?
Right.
I think that's kind of also the detective work is kind of exciting. And especially when you're not getting any new technology and we have all this extra time on our hands. These are the things that kind of feed and drive us of, will this be real? So we will go through, will this really be Apple? Was Lori right in her things? Check out next week on our show to be able to see. That's a part of the excitement. So even the ones that are like completely wrong, and we were, fully bamboozled by this really great mock-up that is, made up from this and that, like someone's looking into like, the
someone's
data behind it and is going to be figuring it out. And then, someone either has pulled the wool over our eyes or has made off like a bandit.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to episodes where we predicted what was coming in new Apple hardware and figure out how close we were or how far off the mark we were.
Our biggest fails, our biggest misses.
Yes. We'll make it a clip show.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've come down to the end of the hour once again, and I wanted to say thank you to everybody who popped in to our live feed. Once again, it's been really great having these conversations with you. And Greg, by the way, yes, I am still using the iPhone SE as my daily driver. My iPhone 11 Pro battery died. It sat on a table and it died. I was going to use it to take a picture of my iPhone SE, and I had to charge it because I don't use it anymore. I use the iPhone SE as my daily driver, still do. So thank you to everybody who sits in and chats with us. It's really great seeing you and chatting with you. Thank you to all of our listeners that don't have the opportunity to listen live, though. What are you doing on a Friday at 1:00 in the afternoon? Come on, join us.
Join us live.
But you listen later in the week or the following week. We really appreciate that. And we read all your tweets. So feel free to tweet at us anytime you want when you hear something that you think we said wrong, or if you agree with us on something. We love to have those conversations with you on Twitter. And thanks again to Jim Metzendorf, who does all of our editing, makes us sound great. He's the one who puts this up on iTunes for us. So if you're listening on iTunes or in any of your podcatcher, it's Jim Metzendorf that makes that happen. If I had to do it, there wouldn't be an iMore show because I wouldn't even know what to do.
He also finds the cute titles. So like tweet to him if you want a certain title, or you think like, oh, like you love that title, like send him a little message of care.
He'll appreciate it. I don't know his Twitter handle, but I'm pretty sure it's at Jim Metzendorf. And don't ask me to spell it. We'll get that for you on the next episode, though, so that you can talk to Jim too. Maybe we'll even have him on the show sometime. Oh. And thanks again to everybody that's been listening to our show all along. We had another great week of the iMore show, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.